I think the increase in minimum wages in CE countries certainly was a step in the right direction of reducing gaps between CE countries and Western Europe. However, if we look at the absolute level of minimum wages, we still see huge differences within Europe, and we also see that the huge increases in CE countries partly also is a reflection of the very low absolute level of minimum wages. So what we actually need to further close the gap between CE countries and Western European countries is a European minimum wage policy. And this does not mean that we want to implement the same absolute level of minimum wage in all the European countries, but it means defining a common European target, for instance, at 60% of the national median or 60% of the national average wage, as for instance the ETUI is currently demanding in its pay rise campaign. Such a common European target could serve as an important reference point for national and European policies. For instance, it could breathe life into the commitment made in the European Pillar of Social Rights as regards fair wages and adequate minimum wages. In that respect, I think one could also imagine that the European semester or the country-specific recommendations are then used to put such a European minimum wage policy into practice and to actually put into practice the commitments made in the pillar. However, to be sure, a European minimum wage policy can only be one element in a strategy to reduce these wage gaps between CE countries and Western European countries. Another important element would certainly be support of multi-employer bargaining structure in these countries, because that would help to actually increase the overall wage structure in these countries and to increase collective bargaining coverage. Because after all, 60% of a very low median wage is still a very low minimum wage from which a worker cannot make a living. So coming back to the initial question as regards the recent minimum wage increases, I think, yes, it was a very important step, but it can only be a start of a broader move and a broader European policy involving a European minimum wage policy and support for multi-employer bargaining structures.